What's good, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy, Big Tank Hank, coming at you with another Saturday live stream. We're in the Aqua Shop and we're open for business. Today's guest, very special individual. I'm pretty new to his channel, a few months. I've been watching him slide in on his live streams every chance I get. Great content. Very, very knowledgeable, very helpful. You know, he turns away no question. Whatever he can do, he's going to try to help you out. Aqua Malik is in the Aqua Shop. Let's bring him up.
What's going on, everyone?
What's happening?
What's up, Big Tank Hank?
Oh,
what's going
man,
on?
I'm chilling.
Good. How's everybody doing? We got a lot of chat people on the live stream today.
They done started rolling in.
Yeah. We got Maria, Deborah. I know her before I've seen her. Melvin's Reef, I haven't seen. What's going on? LH Outdoors. Hello. Yeah. So what's up, everybody? My name is Malik. I run Aqua Malik, the YouTube channel as well. I have a little breeding facility that I run out of my apartment here in Toronto. I breed mostly plecos, the fancier types, and I also breed like longfin, ancestress. I really like them. A lot of the fish I keep keep them because I like them, but they are some of the more sort off type of plecos. So a lot of people want to take care of them and stuff. So like a lot of the times I make videos on how to take care of them and stuff through my channel to help other people, because even for myself, I've been in the hobby since I was a little kid. My parents used to keep aquariums. They had like large aquariums. We lived in the tropics, like in Sri Lanka. So my dad had like these large 6-foot glass, tanks, and then cement tanks with one glass panel in the front, all inside the house, under gravel filters, like very nice large setups with big fish. And I would always try to feed them and do all kinds of stuff. I was a little kid, 2, 3 years old. And he was like annoyed by me. So he said, okay, you're going to get your own aquarium. So he set me up my own 3.5, 4-gallon little cement aquarium with a glass panel in the front, outside of the house, in like, beside the house, but somewhere like nice, like a shed area. And I had some guppies in there. And so I remember like those things breeding for me when I was like a little kid. Like I was like 3, 4 years old. I had baby guppies. I had some mollies in there at some point. So they were breeding. So I would collect these babies in little jars and stuff. And that's how it all started. And then because I was keeping them all in jars, so my dad kind of felt bad. And he kept getting me more tanks. So by the time I was like 6, 7, I had like probably 10, 15 tanks all outside the house. And I had one tank I got for my 7th birthday that was in my bedroom. And he asked me what kind of fish I wanted. And I wanted angelfish. So he took me to his cousin's house, who was breeding angelfish at the time. So his cousin was like breeding these really nice marble angelfish. And back then they were not red; they were just black and white marble angelfish. They were really pretty. So he showed me exactly what he did, and he gave me a young pair, like he said there was male and female. So I brought them home, had them in a tank, bred them. My dad was super proud. Because I was like little kid, whatever. So then he grew from there, and then I wanted to do this professionally, but then life, happens, and so then I went through all the motions, came to Canada when I was like 14. I'm here. I started keeping fish here. I started breeding blue rams when I was 15, 16 years old, taking them back to the fish store. Then it grew like another fish room out of that. By the time I was like in my early 20s, 21, 22, I had about 75 tanks in my parents' basement, breeding fish, selling them to the pet stores and stuff like that. So like it would always grow into a business regardless of how I tried or not or whatever,
Right.
Because the animals just keep breeding. And for me, that's a big thing. I like animals that can breed. I always think that like if I don't have any fish that can't breed. If they can't breed, then I lose interest in them real fast. It's just I don't know what it is, but like I really like the aspect of breeding fish. So and then now, because I have before the pandemic, I had a full time job, and I'm going to return to that once I'm vaccinated. Um, so for now, it's like a hobby that keeps me kind of sane through my busy schedule. So when I go work like a 60 to 50, 60 hour week, I come home every day after like my 14-hour day sometimes. I have my tanks, I take care of them, drink a beer in front of them, kind of forget about all the stuff that's going on. And plecos seem to be a really easy fish to keep with a busy schedule because all you really have to do is you just have to feed them, make sure they're good, check on them like once or twice a day. And they breed on their own. They take care of their babies. The babies can grow up in the tank with the mom and dads. It's a very communal type of fish to breed, and that's why I keep them now. So and through my channel, I try to help as many people as I can, because a lot of people want to keep these animals and they don't. Like I used to go through that. They don't know how to take care of them. I didn't know how to take care of them. I had to learn a lot of it on my own. And a lot of people don't have the content like the videos in YouTube, for example, or the books or papers written on them are very limited, so the information is not readily available. So it's a big problem for hobbyists that want to keep these animals. So I try to help those people as much as I can. And also, like when somebody buys my baby fish, I can say, okay, go watch these videos and they'll show you what to do. So I don't have to explain every single time I sell somebody like some baby fish how to take care of them, because they'll have a million questions otherwise. And you know what I mean? I can give them at least the basics through my videos. So like that's one of the main purposes of my channel. Um, I do the live streams now because I have time. But once the work picks up, I might not be able to do the Friday live stream. I will try my best, but well, that's where I'm at with what's going on, and the channel is essentially trying to help as much people as I can, and obviously it's monetized. It does make some money, so I mean I try to put it back to the channel. So yeah, that's where I'm at with everything that's going on.
That's
Yeah,
off the hook though. That's pretty cool.
yeah,
It's pretty cool, for the all you knowing the importance of the give back aspect, because that's what keeps people coming back. If they can tell that you actually really care, because you have people that sometimes they just, I'm just trying to make a penny. It really don't
yeah.
matter. But the actual care aspect, man, is real cool. Let me say hello right quick to some people.
Yes, yes, yes.
LH Outdoors, Casual Aquatics, Maria Z, Melvin, Melly Mel. What's going on, sir? Deborah, DD, Casual Aquatics, Carrie Habercorn. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, y'all hit that like button and share it out. Share it out. And for those watching the replay, thank you. I'm just
Yes.
glad you're looking at it because you're really not missing anything. You just didn't see it when it was going on, but you still get a chance to see it. And thank
Yes.
y'all for watching. So, what is your regular line of work?
I work in film and television. Toronto has a robust film industry, um, and I think we are considered Hollywood North. Like Vancouver is also pretty big, but Toronto, I think, is for TV especially. We're huge for TV. Like we film a lot of the TV shows that's filmed in the North America are filmed either here or in Atlanta, and so we get a big chunk of that market, and there's a lot of work. So I do a few different things in the field. I work as an actor. I do commercials. Those are harder jobs to get, so I don't get a lot of those. I also do stand-in for main actors, so principal actor that has similar facial features, or same height, same color, whatever. So I'll be their stand-in. So I'll be like an understudy for them. I get a lot of work for doing that because I'm an apprentice still in the union. So I can do a lot of that kind of work very easily, especially because of my ethnicity too, because there's less competition for that work. And I do a lot of that in the summer, and it pays really well as well. And then on top of that, I also write music for like various things. I also work as like an extra sometimes, like, like I'm a union member, so like I can get union rates when I work as an extra, so I get like $28 or something an hour. So I like when I have nothing else going on, I just go sit there, like, look nice and just get paid to do that. It's fine. And
Okay. Okay.
so I do that. It's so it's not like a job. None of the things I do actually compute as a job, so I don't feel like I'm tied to a job, because I'm never good with like an actual job. I've never had good success with like sitting in one place and doing one thing for like a long period. But with this type of work, I get to work on like many different things. It's always the same thing, but it's like on different projects every day. So it's kind of like it keeps me kind of like more interested, and I get to meet a lot more people, and I'm a social person, so I love being around other people. Um, Not huge crowds, but like being around other like-minded people. It's fun. So what's going on, Mary Page? Just
Mary
aside.
Page. Thank you for
So,
last night, ma'am.
oh yeah, I really enjoyed that last stream. Yeah, I work on that as professionally, and then I breed fish as my hobby, but it always makes money. Like the my fish, that's the one thing I've realized, is that if they're happy, they breed. Like, so if I can keep my fish happy, they're always reproducing, and they're like they're always paying for themselves or something like that. So like I never look at it as like a business. Like, I mean, right now I am kind of, because nothing else is going on, but generally speaking, it's more like an expensive hobby that pays for itself. You know,
Hey, if it can pay for itself, though, you know what I'm saying? If it can
like,
pay for itself.
yeah, and that's another thing I want to teach people in my channel too, because I always talk about breeding for profit, and it's essentially like how you can have your hobby pay for yourself, for itself, so it doesn't, because at some point it becomes a burden, right? Like I've had this happen in the past for me, where like I've had so many tanks, and I'm working full time, and I'm coming home putting all my time into keeping them alive, and I'm spending money at the pet store, and I'm not getting anything in return. And then like I look at it and I'm like, I'm just dumping money in, like I've had addiction issues, so like I've had dumped money into things like that in the past, and I know this, and then I'm looking at this is like the same kind of thing. I just switched from that to this now. So how is this gonna now? How can I make it more beneficial to myself, or at least to pay for itself? And that's one of the things for me. Like I always think about that, and I like to make videos. I do have some videos about that, and I want to make more stuff regarding that aspect as well. And that's one of the reasons why I try to help people to breed their plecos, because if you have like one species of nice pleco, for example, like you have your king tiger plecos, like you have one tank, that could make you anywhere from 5 to 10,000 bucks if you're really good at it within just that one tank. You just need to have a couple of breeding supplies, feed them the best food, and keep the water. And like the guys that breed, I know people that are in Europe and stuff that breed like the L236 super white and stuff. They have 4 or 5 tanks, and they make like 60,000 euros a year with
Hmm,
like 5 tanks, like 5 40-gallon tanks. you know
that's crazy.
yeah, and so like and a lot of these people are professional people with other jobs, like doctors or whatever it is that they're doing, and this is just their hobby, and then they can make their hobby. So I try to incorporate that in my fish room as well, but also with how to help other people to do the same kind of thing, if they want to. Like, so that's one of the things I try to focus a little bit, not all the time, but every once in a while. So it might come off on the videos. Like I'm always trying to get the fish to breed, or trying to do something with the breeding of the fish, whatever. So it's like, but I do have fish that are like, I I know that they're not commercially valuable, but it's for like conservation almost, for purposes. Like I have species that I keep for that too. But even those, I find there's still a market. Like like white cloud minnows. I have a breeding colony of those, and I breed them once a year or so. And there's still people that want to buy them, and so there's still money to be made from like shrimp. Like we did a person from another fish club was doing a talk in our fish club recently, and the person said he makes like $7,000 a month breeding like ornamental shrimp, like shrimp, you know,
Yeah, gotcha. For real. Look,
you know,
little shrimp. Yeah,
like yeah,
yeah.
and
That's
it's
crazy to
crazy.
even realize.
7,000 US dollars a month. Like that's ridiculous. And it's all out of his house. It's like a little house with like little tiny tanks. They're not big tanks, they're like 2.5 to 5 gallon tiny tanks. Like I was looking at my setup thinking like, wait, like really? Like I could just get rid of all these big ass tanks and make them little small tanks and and triple my money. Like you know, like it just there's so much potential in this hobby. So I try to explore that more. You know, I don't
That's
know.
cool.
Yeah, Leo,
Welcome in, Ruby. Welcome in. Man,
Unorthodox Aquatics.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's off the hook, man. Especially to realize, I mean, shrimp. Um, it's hard to fathom for me. It's real hard to. There's a market for everything. I mean, I have these wild bettas over here that I really, really, really love, and I know that there's a market for it. But it's like I'm that abstract, fish keeper guy. Hey, I really love that. It's not mainstream, so it's like it's a little bit harder to move them around. But once you get a foothold, you find the niche, it works.
Oh
It
yeah.
works.
Oh yeah. 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 And that's
That's
another thing
cool.
I find too. The shrimp, for example, that was really interesting to watch. And like guppies are also another big one that sells quite well. It's like the fish that are more expensive are harder to sell. There's less demand, less market.
Yeah.
So like like your wild bettas, for example, I was finding I like them personally, and they sell for like 80 to 100 bucks a pair in Canada, the mouth brooders. And like I have a few friends that have them, but like you said, it's a very niche market, but there is market for it. And but then I have friends that breed like guppies. Like I have one friend who breeds guppies. He makes like a lot of money, but the guppies are not expensive. There's a lot more market for it. So
Yeah.
it all depends on how much you want to monetize it, but it is possible. Like I'm pretty sure, like Aquabit, for example, you can if you put your betas on Aquabit,
Yeah.
and you put uh, shipping 48 states, all the lower 48, you'd sell them in no time. Like
Yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely. Most definitely. It's like a how can I put it? I don't want to say. I don't want to say. I don't want to sound rude or anything. Oh man, segregated, but not racially. It's like I'm into wild bettas, and
it's a niche. It's a more
yeah,
it's no, but I find that they're much more nicer than the regular ones, like the ones you like the Splendens. The Splendens are nice. Like I've kept them before. I've bred them when I was a kid. That was like my biggest thing when I was probably like 12. Like getting the green colored ones. Back then it was like super rare. So like we used to breed them, and
oh, it's still
but
rare to get green ones.
I know, I know.
Yeah,
I was
still
pretty
rare.
successful at it when I was young, quite a couple of times, but it's really hard. My friend, one of my younger friends, who was like probably like 8 or something, this kid was like phenomenal breeder, and he had like a few green males, and I was just always looking at him like, how do you do that? But back, and it's just luck of the draw, I find. But with the wild types, it's a lot more interesting because they have a better breeding behavior. Like they mouth brood and stuff. That's a lot more interesting to watch. Um, and it's easier to raise the fry, especially with like the little the fry from the Splendens is difficult to raise.
Yep.
Like you need like specialty food and stuff. So I find it's so much more easier to have like animals doing the work.
Yes, it
Like
would be. Yeah, definitely would be a whole lot easier. A whole lot easier, man.
that's why I keep Plecos, because they do all the work. I just literally like they're so easy in that sense. As long as you get the water right, the rest is literally the fish will do everything. all you have to do is make sure nobody else bothers it. So I pull the whole cave, I put it in a box, so other fish are not going and trying to eat the eggs and stuff. And that seems to help. But even if I don't do that, most of the time they'll do good. But if I take the cave out, they do better. you know,
Right.
that's the only intervention on my behalf that I have to do, and it's
Yeah.
easy.
I tried bristlenose one time.
Yeah,
I mean, I might go back. I like some of the more specialty.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, it was like I killed them, and I realized I wasn't uh target feeding them enough.
yeah.
I had about five baby calico bristlenose. I'm like, I'll start with these and see what I can do. I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
one female. She might be almost a year old now. She's somewhere in one of these five tanks. When when I moved in and I set back up, I remember seeing her. I just don't remember where.
You
But
know she's there.
I
Yeah.
don't see her. Yeah, she's here. She's in.
She's there somewhere.
But I mean, I was gonna try, man. I had like five or six, and every time I just look up, dude, you see a little baby over there, and you see a that shrimp at the time, either shrimp or snails will be dragging them off or something, and I'm like, man, what is?
It's honestly like a lot of people think plecos are easy in that sense. Keeping them alive when they're young is quite difficult. Bristlenose is it's a notorious one for that, especially the specialty types like the calicos, the super reds. If when you're going into the lemon, the blue-eyed lemon and stuff, they're harder to keep alive than even like your zebra plecos sometimes because their genetics are like inbred and they're weak genetics, so they need like very consistent water compared. So the problem with them is like if you bring them from, let's say, your friend that lives down the street and you put them in your tank and you both have the same water, they'll be fine. But if you bring them from, like, let's say 100 kilometers away and you put them in your tank and they're from a different water than yours, chances are they're not going to make it.
Oh, okay,
So there's
okay.
that too. There's the water difference makes a huge difference for them, because I found, and then the next thing is when they get to about a year, you can't feed them the high protein diets. Like a lot of fish food we have is like too high protein, and they seem to suffer like blockages and stuff like that. And so these are some of the things I want to help with. Like initially, that's one of the main reasons why I want to make my videos is to kind of like, because once you get that part over that bit, once your fish is in your tank and alive and you're feeding it the right food, they're bomb proof. Like you can't kill them. Like, I've seen plecos, like I've had calls from, like, I have a friend that is a superintendent in a building. One time he called me, he said, come help me get this tank out. So I go there and he's like, you want it? Like it was like a 40-gallon or whatever. I go there. The tank's been sitting in the house for like 6, 7 months, maybe 2 inches of water now. And there's pleco in there. Still alive, still, relatively healthy, you know? But like I bring it home, I feed it, try to bring it back to size, it dies. Like, I mean, I was devastated when that happened. I gave up. This was like probably like 8 years ago. I gave up after that point on Plecos because I was just like, what's the point? You know, I can't keep these things alive. And a lot of my friends, same problem. But like this thing was living in 2 inches of water, in no, with no food, nothing. It was disgusting in there, and we didn't even know there was a fish alive. Like if my friend knew that there was a fish alive, and then he would have called me earlier. He was a superintendent, so he saw the tank. He said, okay, there was an empty tank. They left it with some water, and eventually somebody was renting the apartment, and he wanted to get the tank out. So he called me and said, "You want this tank?" And I said, "Okay, yeah, sure. I'm gonna come pick it up." We go to pick it up, pick up the tank. There it was, and bring it home and feed it and take care of it and try to get it back to health and all that good jazz. And a couple of months in, it dies. And I was just like, you know what? Like these
So
things
the
are
system had got used to the bad water and your good water.
whatever it was. I think that somebody told me that I fed it too much food too fast. It was probably not able to digest it. The thing is, I find the animals adapt quite well to whatever it is that you're doing. But like if you move them, then that might change. You know what I mean? That seems to be a thing for the. So these are things like I don't have all the answers. Like I just know from what I understand, what I've seen myself, and what I know right now is that each species needs its own food. Uh, yeah, welcome everyone. I want to say hi to everyone. I just want to get through this bit. Like, is that if you feed the right food consistently, like a variety of good food, like it doesn't have to be any particular brand or whatever. You can make your own food. I know a lot of people that make their own food that have quite good success. Just find what the type of fish needs and then feed that. You know, like if it's a vegetarian type of animal or herbivorous animal, then you feed it a little bit more vegetable type of foods. And if it's a predominantly carnivorous animal, you kind of feed more marine type of proteins, not too much like terrestrial proteins, like nothing like soy protein and stuff like that seems to be a
Gotcha.
little too bad, especially for some of the highly carnivorous animals. So I found that having the diet seems to make a big difference. Um, but once you figure those parts out, the water, like I mean, my grow out tanks, the water gets, not like the nitrates go up sometimes, and it doesn't seem to affect them. Like as long as it's not a sudden change, if it's a consistent thing that changes over time, it doesn't seem to matter. But if something changes, like if your pH is at like 5 and you bring it up to 7, they could die. You know,
Okay.
like I mean that's bad for most fish, but like same thing like with if your nitrates for like let's say 200 ppm and you do like a 90% water change and your nitrates go down to like 10-15 ppm, that also can kill some of the fry. So like if your nitrates are 200 ppm, the best trick is to do like a 20-30% water change or 40% water change. 2 days later do another 40% water change, like that. That seems to be better than doing a really large water change. So like the sudden change seems to affect them a little bit more. So that seems to also correlate. When you buy a little fry, you bring them home, you put them in the new tank, they get shocked, they don't
Yeah.
eat. That's a pretty big one. I've had that problem. I mean, I've flushed like thousands of dollars of play goes down the drain. Like I'm not even like over the last 10 years, like the first 3 years it was bad, and so it was just like and I just there was no information back then too. Like there's very little information. The people that were breeding the fish were like kind of holding it all. Even now, there's a bit more now. So I don't know. Now it's now I've learned my lessons. I guess. I hope. and
Well,
and
yeah, if you can get it yourself, cause yeah, there's the snobs. I mean, the the fish suffer. The people. Yeah, you lose money, but I mean, we talking about as a hobby, and you raising creatures. They're alive, man, and they have to rely on you. And they're like, they don't want you to have the information, not realizing, but you're killing, a lot of fish by not giving him the
the
information.
information. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. Isaac Soto, welcome. Leo Contreras, a real Z, what's going on? And Jess of Main Tails Furs Offense says she's been trying to get in touch with you, Malik.
Oh, okay. Hi. Um, been trying to get in touch with you. Okay, yeah, you can send me a message either on Instagram or Facebook. Facebook is better. I get those on my phone, so I see them. But either one works. You can find me Malik King on Facebook and produced by Malik on Instagram, I believe. I have the links on my video on at the bottom of all my videos as well. Um, and unless it's like a private message, you can private message on those ones as well, right? It's not like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I don't really like giving out my personal email address because it's a little bit, I have a tank, a fish room email, but I never check it, so it's no point. It's just for the YouTube channel, and I never check that one either. But hi Jess, hi Ozzy Sato. Like these are some of the people that always follow in my live stream too. Maria, Chubbs Aquatics, Melvin's Reef. Hi. Um, Did I miss
Al
someone?
Wet Sox.
Lee Contreras. He messaged me earlier. Lee Contreras actually on Facebook. I was actually helping him with something, I believe. Melvin's Reef. Uh, Maria is awesome. She's always on my channel as well. I should make Maria a moderator on my channel,
Right?
so she can join more of the live streams because she's always like, I'm helping somebody else's live stream. Casual Aquatics, Unorthodox Aquatics. Hello, hello. Deborah, Mary Page, Melvin's Reef. I think we got everyone. But
Chubbs is
yes,
in the house.
welcome, welcome, welcome. If you guys have questions, I mean, I can help here, but I'm pretty sure you guys always get your answers on my channel too. So, um, yeah, I didn't used to smoke a lot of cigarettes, but since I started using this thing, I'm pretty addicted to this now. Like I noticed myself, like even right now, I'm trying to like not take a puff on live of
Hey,
nicotine.
it's not a cigarette. As crazy as it sounds, it's
It's
not a
not.
cigarette, man. If you
Yeah.
need to puff, go ahead and puff. I,
No,
I
no, no,
understand. Look, I
no, no,
understand.
no,
Rick
no. But
Silver, Rick
what's going
Silver,
on, Rick?
welcome.
Uh, but like that's the thing about addictions. Like you kind of find yourself in like strange situations. Like, and that's like before I was smoking cigarettes. I was how do you say it? Socially smoking cigarettes, usually at work. But then when the pandemic hit, I wasn't smoking cigarettes like at home, but I always had a pack of cigarettes. And my friend said, instead of having cigarettes, you can just use this thing. So I started using it, and I could smoke inside the house and stuff. It doesn't feel like I'm smoking a cigarette. So I started smoking it a lot more. And now I'm like always using it. So it's like, it's another, how do you say it? Like vices, I guess.
Vice, yeah, Vice.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird to explain them, but yeah, you know, fish is
Yeah,
definitely a vice.
we all have something or another. I'm a caffeine. I don't know what to call myself a caffeine fiend, but part of part of mine, it's bad when you can explain it, but it still is what it is. I'm a ADD, ADHD. I'm one of those. I'm
Yeah,
49, and I found out about it at 37.
yeah,
I mean, I guess I always knew, but I mean, there
yeah,
was no knowledge of what the situation was. So I was never medicated,
yeah,
but I realized first it started out I was drinking a lot of beer, and people use the term self-medicating. They'll make it negative because it can end up being that. But
yeah.
I found out my reality, being that I didn't get any medication from the doctor. My body was using one. I was drinking alcohol. It would bring me down, balance. Or I went to caffeine, bring me up,
To balance.
balance.
Yeah,
My weight lifted with the release of endorphins, and which in turn I would feed the workout because I would lift heavy weights. I would feed the workout with protein and sugar, drug.
up and
So
down. Yeah,
I was always medicating, but never realizing, like now with this caffeine, like this is an energy drink, bang energy drink, 0 calorie, but it's still a bunch of caffeine.
oh yeah,
And hey,
gets you to
it
the
is.
level. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it's
I have the same thing. I have ADHD, and I was on pills initially. They tried to give me stuff when I was like 18, 19. I was suicidal on those. Then finally they put me on medical marijuana, and that helped. And then since then, I mean, I've smoked marijuana like almost every day, like what, at least once. But now, like the last few years, I'm finding I don't have to like do it in the mornings. The only downside to that is I will have like I wouldn't be this calm and collected. I would be like a million miles an hour, like like
yeah.
so. First thing in the morning, it's a little too much. But I go to work and I just usually would smoke a cigarette or whatever and calm myself down, and I'll be okay. Um, but before, when I was like in my 20s and late early 30s, it was the only thing that was keeping me balanced, like going to school and everything. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to sit there for like 8 hours, like listening to anybody. Like that's why I'm not good with like regular 9 to 5 type of jobs because I can't focus that long on in like I can do it for 1 day or 2 days, but 4 or 5 days in, it becomes too monotonous or whatever, and
Gotcha.
I lose
Yeah, my
track. Yeah,
I have to be super like the fish. I've been keeping fish, or should I say aquatic animals, all animals really, but aquatic animals for over 30 years in some way, shape, or form. And because I like it's it's super deep my interest. It's beyond just the sitting and watching them, and they relax me. You know, as a kid, you know, it's the water. This animal is living under this water and not breathing air, and you know, if you could use the term majestic, you know, I'm like, man, you know, this is crazy to me, you know, and I can have these snails and these plants, and during the summers and springs, you know, we're swimming in these creeks, and you're looking at their habitats that I don't live in, you know. So it was like a gift for me to be able to experience what, you know, how they live, and if I could have it in my house and look at it all the time, you know, it's just this whole other thing for me. So I can stay focused on that. Then you got the lifting of the weights. Once I understood the whole premise and how angles work and time under tension and all these things, plus me seeing the fruits of my labor at the end, because genetically I was predisposed to making gains, strength, and size. Those I always had that payoff at the end. And I'm on the other end of the scale as far as the downer, as opposed to my body wants the upper more. So I go to my job, man, and I'm a man. You basically say I'm a restaurant manager, but I work in food service in a prison. But I do 2 meals. I do breakfast and I do lunch. So it's a constant 10 hours. I mean, it's constant. I'll go in there and juice myself up on coffee, and I'm still focused though. You know,
yeah,
other people are like, oh my God, how do you
yeah,
I would take granules in my mouth and just rinse them down, you know, and let the coffee percolate in my gut, you know. And they were like, man, my God, how do you do it?
yeah,
And I'm like, I can't really explain it. The the caffeine just it gives me a super focus. And when I'm coming down off of it, then it's like and I'm all over the place, you know, and it's like, hey, are you okay? Yeah, no, not really. You know, I need to get some more caffeine in. And my son he was on medication. He's about to be 21.
okay,
He was on medication 16-ish, and he was like, Daddy, I don't like the way it makes me feel. It's like somebody
yeah,
put this brick jacket on me, you know, and it caused him anxiety and depression, you know. You're trying to fix one thing, but you're like making it worse. So
oh, yeah,
he
the
stopped
medications
taking
are
them.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah, he stopped taking it, and I I have a gift of wisdom and perception and understanding. I mean, that I had from a little kid. So I talked him through like explanation. I'll explain anything. You know, you'll tell kids, listen, I told you, I'm saying that's why you do it or whatever. I explain everything. I don't care who you are. If you ask me, you can ask me the same question 100 times. I'll explain it to you over and over again. So as he grew up talking, I never stopped explaining why you feel like this, why this is like that,
yeah,
how you make a decision in this moment. You know, and I helped him the same way I learned to cope with it because I wasn't medicated at all. The
hmm,
same way I learned to cope with it, I taught him, you know, coping skills that no doctor could teach. It was because I knew what worked and what benefited me. I
him,
mean,
yeah,
man, they used to keep me after school in elementary, man, because I'd be sitting in class and the windows in our class were like kind of low and they went across the whole building. And I'm in a little country town. So there was always people and things going on.
and you're like always like this. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah,
end up,
yeah. I had the same problem.
oh
Always looking
man,
out the window, out into the sky. My teacher would be like, "What are you staring at?" I'm just like, "Oh, there's a bird
yes,
up there."
it's stuff out there. Yeah, I see you all the time, and what you talking about, I'm not interested in. But there's stuff going on out there.
Yeah, that's the thing, But that's back then. They didn't know how to take care of that stuff. Like they didn't know what to do. Like they were like, I was a bad kid. They just put me in the category of like the worst kids. I was misbehaving, always getting into trouble, always getting beat. Like my teachers, I got beat by every one of my teachers. Like every single one of them beat me.
Man. Hey, I was 135 pounds in the 6th grade, so the paddlings, it didn't matter much. The other kids were like 60, 70 pounds. I'm 135 pounds. You paddling, it didn't really matter.
It don't matter.
They would give me, man, I can remember having 5,000 sentences one weekend.
Yeah.
And everybody in my house was writing sentences with me. My mama, my grandmother. Everybody's writing sentences. I would have to stay after school an hour after everybody else to finish work. Bell ring. I'm just sitting there. I knew. All right, see y'all tomorrow. I know.
You're still there.
Yeah, I know what's happening to me.
Yeah. I saw a question from Melvin Reef earlier. I wasn't reading all the questions, but I want to at least get to some of them. Melvin wanted to know if I keep other fish other than plecos, beside the fish I breed, like African cichlids. So no, I don't have African cichlids. I have tetras. Yeah, I breed tetras. I don't have Pleiades or mollies. I actually have one swordtail that I rescued. Oh yeah, and also one molly that I rescued. I have guppies, some that I rescued. I have a line of endlers I'm working on, and I have the 24 karat gold, the ribbon fin fish, like really nice quality. Like my friend gave me 6 of them as a gift. So I have those. They're little, they're tiny, but they're growing, so they're really nice. I'll make a video on those. I have angels that I breed. I also have ultims that I don't breed. I have a breeding pair of zebra loaches that I want to breed that are not breeding right now. I have other fish. I have a lot of different fish. A lot of them are breeding, so I don't know if they count as breeding or not breeding, because they do. Like for example, I have those. They're like a hellstream loach, the flat pleco looking. They're called the Chinese loach or whatever. I have those. I have a breeding group of those, and they breed like on their own. They're in a tank. Like I rarely take care of them in terms of water changes. I feed them. I do water change like once every 2 months or so, and they breed in there like no problem. So like I have that. But yeah, I have different fish. I just it's just what I find interesting. I get. But generally, a lot of the fish I keep are soft water to like moderately soft water. Because of the water that I have, I can't really keep a lot of African cichlids successfully, because I would have to add crushed corals to all my setups, which I would not be able to keep the fish that I'm keeping now. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not keeping African cichlids right now. But that's one of the fish I want to keep eventually. I'm really interested in a lot of the African cichlids. Actually, they're really pretty, and also like a lot of them are rare or not available in the wild anymore, or extinct in the wild, or whatever. So it's a good type of fish to keep. So like I really want to keep them, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
What kind was it? Because it froze.
Sorry?
Just as you said. I said it froze just as you said. What kind of fish? And then we heard the
African cichlids.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't kept them in large quantities yet. I've kept shell dwellers in the past. I've bred them before. The only difference is I have to add crushed corals to all my tanks to keep African cichlids. So that's not a trade-off I want to make right now. I just want to set up a larger facility one day, hopefully, God willing, and have those types of fish too,
So for profit, like storefront type of deal, or?
Now for me, the profit would be to pay for itself. I don't necessarily want it to be like something that Like I don't want to become a millionaire off of selling fish per se, but if we can pay for the bills and the facility, and if I have some employees, I want to pay my employees really well, more than minimum wage, a lot more than minimum wage if you're going to work for me. And I want them to be well taken care of. So yes, for them, I want the animals to be well taken care of. So that has to be covered. So for that purposes, yes, I would want it to be a facility that makes profit. Um, but beyond that, it's just like to me, like it's money is just a means to an end. It's not an end all be all thing like that. Like I'm not chasing money. Like money is just a, a byproduct of productivity.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha,
so
gotcha.
if the animals are being productive, then they will sell, and obviously that would translate to money. Yes, but that would be to do more for them. Like I've I don't like to say I've transcended beyond money, but like I don't have the same monetary goals as like most people when it says like what I mean. Like I'm happy with my $2,000 car. Like I've already paid that off. It drives unless that breaks down and stops running. I'm not spending any more money on a new car, and I'm good with it. You know what I mean?
No, I
Like
definitely know what you mean.
yeah,
I definitely know.
and then not to say that like when I have a lot more money that I wouldn't buy a nicer car, but like I wouldn't just say, okay, I'm gonna buy a $2 million Lamborghini now that I have 2 million. Like that's
No.
not one of my end goals. Like in life at this point in life at least. So yeah, it would I would want it to be a facility that is a breeding facility that can like breed a lot of the rarer fish, the fish that don't have homes anymore, like the fish that are coming out of rivers that are like gonna be destroyed to the point that the fish won't be able to live in them. So I want to keep most of those animals, and breed them and make them available. So like a lot of the rarer stuff. Um, that's essentially one of the goals out of that. And also
Most
education.
definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Watts, what's going on? Ray Aquatics, what's happening? What's happening? Kevin, how do? How do? Thank y'all for coming through. Thank y'all for coming through. What kind of tetras do you have?
Um, I have like the regular neon tetras, or no, sorry, not neon. It's a cardinal tetra. So the Paracherodon axelrodi. I have a school of those. I have green neon tetras. I have a pretty nice large school of green neon tetras. Um, I did breed some of them. I bred 3 fry accidentally. I'm pretty proud of them. uh, and I have Colombian redfin tetras, which are breeding pretty regularly. Um, lemon tetras, those also seem to be quite easy because I had them in my Playco tank, and I actually found a fry a few days ago, like a little tiny guy. So they're breeding in the tank by themselves. I bought some glow tetras. A lot of people are
no.
hating on me. I didn't buy them. I rescued them from my friend, but I want to buy a few more to add because they're breeding. I'm not keeping them for like commercial purposes, but I really like them. And I think they're cool. I think they get a bad rep because I know, like, obviously, like in the hobby, like the serious hobbies, like I got private messages and stuff saying, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you?" Whatever. And these 8 fish were in my friend's tank, and he was shutting down the tank. So he said, "Do you want them?" And I said, "Yeah." I brought them home. I'm gonna make actually a video update about it today. They've been with me for like about 2 months now, and they're breeding. So I'm interested in seeing what happens if they breed with wild stock and stuff like that. So I'm doing some experiments with them. I have, oh yeah, I have some really cool. I think they're called fire. Um, it's like a hyperbricercon. It's like a really small tetra. I've had them for a few years, uh, probably more than a few years, and they're doing great. I forgot the scientific name, so I have those. Like a few different kinds. I have Congo tetras that breed. So like like the cookie cutter, the pet store types, mostly. Um, and I want to get more tetras, but it's difficult to get the really nice ones. They don't
Okay,
ship so well. So
gotcha.
um,
Yeah, I just picked up some. I have, well, I see 10, but I got 11 neons. Oh, I've had them now maybe 4 days, and I didn't realize they hid at first. Like,
Yeah,
they were just hiding. I'm like, man, I'm looking at all these videos. People saying, man, they want this many neons, in that tank schooling, and I'm like, man, I have them. They're pretty when I see them. I mean, it's black water. I'm trying to set the scene for them, and
I seen the
man.
tank. Yeah.
But what I ended up doing though today, I put some male um guppies, from my mixed tank out on the porch. I have some young ones. They have inlay in them so that they're not going to get real big. I have about 5 of them, and I put some least kittyfish also in that tank today.
Yeah.
And right now, over my shoulder, the neons are all out. Like, so I'm guessing those other fish are acting as like dither fish for them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
They're all out. And I've not seen them out like this. I mean, I'm right here next to the tank doing all of this, and it's like I'm not even here.
Yeah. Yeah. Once they're comfortable, they're very very nice to have, and the regular neons are actually really nice. It's they're easier to breed in captivity. Um, and they do much better in community tanks compared to the green neons. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. And then in, I think they can live up to like 5 years or so in normal conditions. But if you do really well, they can live up to like 10 years. I've seen people
Mm.
that have them like 8, 9 years, 10 years even. But and then they get big. They get an inch and a half maybe, like in size. The females get bigger. The
Okay.
males stay like at about an inch, and the females get to about an inch and a half ish.
So
And,
would you
and
say is that because the greens are closer relatively to wild stock at this point?
well, the greens are all wild. They're not they're
Okay.
not
Okay.
they haven't bred them commercially yet. I don't think a lot of people have even bred them successfully because the pH needs to be like really low for them to breed. Like I had the spawn that I had, the tank. I didn't do water changes for about 6 months, and the water level started dropping, and there was about 3 inches of water in the tank, and the pH was like probably about 3.5 to 4 somewhere there, and they spawned. You know, I find that they come from swamps, like peat marshy swamps, and they seem to have the need. They need really low pH to spawn, and the spawn to be successful. But the regular neons, the ones you have, for example, they breed at 7.2, 7.3 pH, no problem. So they're easier to cultivate, and a lot of them are tank bred, which is a lot healthier. You're going to get a better quality tank fish than getting a wild fish, for green neons, which they don't do well in. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure green neons might do good in your tank because it's a blackwater tank, but the average fish keeper, it's a completely different story. If you put them in regular tap water, they just die.
Right. Gotcha.
Especially when they just come in from the wild. So it's
Yeah.
a
I when I first tried to do neons a while back, I didn't do any research because you go to the LFS and you just see them in regular tank water. So I would get them, and they would not last. Like I'm like, what is it
yeah,
with these neons, man? They just crash every time I would
yeah.
get them to the house. Now I have some crushed coral tanks because I had well, I still have guppies, but I mean, when I had majority guppies, I have some with all crushed coral substrate. Now I have some with crushed coral, but I also have almond leaves and wood,
Mm-hmm.
also in those tanks, trying to get
Just
a
a balance.
yeah, a balance going on. And it's actually working. It's working pretty good. I got a bag. That bag that you saw me move when I
Mm-hmm.
replaced it with that picture, that's all leaves.
I figured, yes.
Yeah,
I,
that's
I have one of those choppers truck pot bags too, like that. I kind of carry around and put leaves in because I have a giant garbage bag of leaves outside my door, and I fill a little bag full of leaves and I walk around the room and then I just sit it on top of the
yeah,
shelf.
right. Yeah, I was like, I say, let me move my bag is looking kind of kind of ghetto up there. Let me move my shopping bag, leaves out of the way.
fish keepers are pretty similar. We all have the same. I go to my friends' fish room sometimes before COVID. Like now, obviously, I haven't been to anybody's house, but like before COVID, I would go to my friends' fish rooms, and I can literally tell. Like sometimes I'll see containers, and it's the same kind of containers I would use for my food. Like it's pretty much the same, like the Tetra 300, the big cans.
Yep.
You just peel the skin off, and you have the white container. You just write whatever food name. So like I'll see them, and even without seeing the food names, I know that fish food are in them. Things like that. The shopping bag for all the fish bags is there, usually hanging somewhere. The corner of nets, all the nets will be there. So
Yeah, mine. I have that high shelf. I'm glad I have that high shelf now. My nets are like up there.
up
You
top.
know, if you're if you're over 6 foot, you'll see them. But now I'm like, oh, okay, I can tuck my nets away now.
Oh man, it's crazy.
Oh,
I have my water hoses hanging from in front of the rack. So like those things, all the airlines are coming. It's like it's crazy the whole thing. And they go to my friend's house, the same setup. You know. Somebody asked where y'all get your leaves from.
hey, I have okay. The house that I just left from has it had magnolia trees, and
Yeah.
a good friend of mine, Warrior, planted tanks.
Yeah.
He told me a long time ago when I had my splendors, he was like, man, he said, bruh, let me tell you. They're not
Magnolia
gonna tell you
leaves.
this. Yeah. He said they're
Yeah.
not gonna tell you this.
Those are the things that people don't tell. They hide them. They're like,
Yes.
I
And
know.
where I live now, I'm in a pretty nice apartment complex. And this area is apartments, and then outside of that is home subdivision, but it's the same name, like I guess it's the same company, but it's homes as well as apartments. And
Hmm.
there's magnolia trees down side of the road
You're blessed.
everywhere over here, man. Oh,
You're
look.
blessed. You're blessed. Yeah, I get oak leaves. Same thing.
Ooh.
When I walk my dog, like right now, I actually looked at one tree yesterday or day before. I walk my dog through all the neighborhoods in my area, and as I walk, oak trees are pretty big. They kind of stand out, and they're wide too. So like usually spring, you can see them, getting the greener leaves. They're larger leaves. So I find all the trees. I kind of keep it in mind where they are, and I pick a nice healthy one, and I talk to the person that owns the tree, and I go help them clean their yard
Okay,
after.
okay.
You know,
Right,
the tree I
right.
got my leaves from last year, and then I'm probably gonna get leaves from again this year. There's a really old woman that lives there. She's probably about 70 years old. She can't do any yard work. Um, so I know her. She pets my dog sometimes. You know what I mean? We talk. So she's a nice neighbor, and so around, I don't know, September, October, when the leaves start falling, I see her outside one day, and I'll just walk up to her and have a conversation and be like, "Do you need help cleaning your yard?" And she usually says yes, and I just go there with a bunch of garbage bags and clean all her yard, pack all my garbage bags full of oak leaves, and walk them home.
Hey, right. Hey guys, I got another tip now. Some of these hacks that we get on YouTube. And
Yeah.
I realized this one myself, just being observant. Hardwood, deep, deep, deep green leaf.
Okay.
Hardwood with deep, dark, smooth green leaves. The darker the leaf, the better. Has to be hardwood. When those leaves dry, are the best leaves to use in your tank.
Yes, I think that in India and stuff they do that hardwood leaves. I remember using that, and even when I was a kid, my dad used that to spawn some of the fish that he was keeping. Yeah, and it wasn't
Yeah.
any trees that we have here. It was different trees. And you're
And you
right.
think about what a banana leaf looks like.
Oh yeah, that's different. That also has tannins though. Banana leaves
Yeah.
have tannins too. Yeah, that's a different type, but it works. I've seen like and that's the thing. I feel like anything that grows in a forest, but yes, hardwood that has thick green leaves definitely. I think once they dry, also branches. I use oak branches. For my fry and stuff, they eat them. The wood eating plecos seem to love it. They eat the oak branches, like the twigs. You just break them, let it dry for like a few months, and then stick it in there. Oh, that looks nice. Yes, sir. Oh, there's the neon tetras. That's some nice guppies you have in there too.
Those are my
Project.
little project, and they
Yeah.
they started with me getting bamboozled by one of the LFSs that I used to go to. Now, God bless him. His store ended up having to close down. He couldn't stay afloat during the pandemic. But I mean, you don't wish bad luck on nobody. But he had this tank full of platinum Dumbo ear. Some people have heard this story already. Platinum Dumbo ear guppies, red
Okay.
tail platinum Dumbo ear. Look good.
Yeah.
Look good, man. Look good. He was selling them to me, man, $2, $2 or something a piece, right?
That's really cheap.
He's like, man, they breed these. It would be different if it hadn't come out of his mouth. Just let me buy them, and then what happens happens. No, he was like, man, the way they look now, they continue to breed. Look like this, right? Okay. I got, man, two, four, man. I had about 8 pairs, I think, man. Every time I had a little, let me get some, let me get some more, let me get some more, let me get some more. I'd take fish to him, trade in, do the trade. Let me get some more. Man, fry started coming. There
Don't
was
look nothing
there
like the
was a
parents.
like there was an endler in the mix somewhere.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
There was an endler somewhere in that tank, man. And I think it was like a 75-gallon, maybe. It was pretty good size, full. In the back of the store, kind of dimly lit. So you'd have to study this tank real hard to see something else in it, because everybody else was looking pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Oh man, the fry started coming out with these little extra color on the side of the body. Since I was an inlet guy before that, I recognized it immediately. I'm like,
You
oh man.
knew.
I said, there's an inlet somewhere in here. I mean, when I say zero fry came out platinum Dumbo ear. Now, some had Dumbo ears, but they ended up with a lot of red and like black in the body. So I got some male Dumbo ear mosaic. I got 2 Dumbo ear mosaic males and put in that same tote with those fish, and I ended up moving out those original males to a friend of mine who just wanted fish. He just wanted guppies. So I moved them out, and he ended up getting those from me, and I replaced them with those 2 males, as well as I have a cobra, guppy, one cobra guppy in there. And he
Okay.
has some nice reds and yellows, red, yellow, and black, more yellow than anything. So I infused his blood in there also, and I'm letting them roll from there. And I'm getting some nice long dorsal fins, man. In the tail, you get one of 2 things.
Okay.
They have this round, perfectly round fan like
Yeah, I
tail,
like that tail. Yeah, that's the next
perfectly
one.
round, and not the little bitty one. No, it's a
No,
big one, but it's
big. Yeah, yeah,
perfectly
yeah,
round.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then you get the one with just a flame. He looks like a rocket ship. You
Oh,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's whatever the crosses that they've done before you got the fish too.
Yeah.
Because I find a lot of those fish they've used the lines are not stable. I've tried keeping some of the Dumbo types, and there's a guy in my city actually. I was gonna spend like $100 and buy 3 fish. My friend stopped me because the fish looked really nice, the pictures and everything, and I'm like, it's really hard for us to get guppies here, like in Canada, because there's import regulations on guppies because of diseases and stuff. So
Gotcha.
good quality ones don't come by that often. So like, and it's not for like selling or anything, but like there's a few of us. There's probably like about 50 people that are like the high end, like guppy, like connoisseurs, and we all want to have these like nice lines so we can just all be like, it's like there's one guy that breeds like zebra plecos also. He has some really nice koi guppies, and me and my friend were like drooling over it the other day. We are just like, oh, I fucking hate this guy, like like because he has the nicest guppies, whatever. But like, so that's kind of like why we want him. So I saw these three guppies for sale, and it was overpriced, but they were like really nice. And I told my friend, I said, I'm gonna buy them. What do you think? And he goes, oh yeah, no, that guy, you buy fish from him, like the fry all come out differently. Like it's not gonna be, and the fish you're gonna get is not gonna look anything like the pictures and stuff. So I was like, okay, so I'm not buying the fish anymore. It's a pretty hard, a tough, a niche like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
and how can you feel good? You know, how how can they feel good about it, man? It's just like
Yeah.
you're right around the corner, right up the street. It's like, dude, you're not, states away, man. We're
Yeah,
in the
I
same
know.
area.
And that's the thing. Like everybody knows this one person that's selling the guppies now, and a few people have told me about him after, like since that incident, and it's like, but they still have business because there's still somebody out there that's gonna be, you know, get caught in the trap every single time, and it's sad, but it is what it is. I mean, even pet stores, like the chain stores, like the big stores, they sell sick fish. I go to sometimes just to see what they have and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'll see like tanks full of sick fish, and people are buying them, and they take them home, and they put the sick fish into their existing tank with the healthy fish. All the fish in the tank dies. Then they go back to the pet store to buy more fish. The same pet store, you know. And this is essentially how they're staying in business, and they're selling filters and parts that break. They sell
Yep.
you filters that constantly need you to upgrade the mechanical bits in there, and all this equipment that constantly needs upgrading, and hoses, valves, like a canister filter, like you got to replace the seals every whatever time, and you got to replace the. I've never had canister filters. I've had like one in my whole fish keeping career, and it was a pain. I just like, but I have a lot of friends that have like the FX5s and stuff, and I'm like, when I see the stuff they go through, and I'm like, you're spending like $300-400 sometimes in a year to maintain this $300-400 filter, every year, and the pet store or Amazon or whoever the manufacturer, they profit from it, and the same thing with the fish. They're constantly selling you the fish that is sick or that you don't know how to take care of. Like they'll have fish, they'll bring them in, this really nice, cool fish. The guy that's working there has no idea how to take care of them. They don't teach you, they don't tell you. They just, here's the fish, go home. They don't tell
You
you like,
like it? You like
you
that?
want it?
Sure.
Okay, here. How big is your tank? Oh, 40 gallons. Great. What
It's
other fish do you
fine.
have? Okay, great. Here you go. And then you bring them home, and then you put them in your tank, and the fish start dying, and then you're like, why are they dying? Oh, they can't live in my pH. But they were at the pet store pH, but they didn't tell you they just got them in 3 days ago, and the fish been dying the last 3 days every day, So you go back a week later, and then it looks like all the fish were sold, but reality is like
They
90%
all
of them
die.
died, and then the
Yeah.
10% that got sold died at the person's house. So
Yeah.
it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. So
That's there's a lot of pluses,
yeah,
but one of the main pluses about this fish family, man, is we all get connected, and you don't have to really worry about fish if you're getting them from
somebody yeah.
somebody on YouTube.
Even like
Man,
I've stopped. I have a few stores I still buy from because I sell fish to them, but they're like mom and pop stores, like whatever. But most of the fish that I have are either from my friend who imports them or somebody I know that bred them. And also I don't spend my own money to buy any of these animals. Like every animal you see in my facility now has been bought from money that they've made. Like like so when people say, "Oh, look at like you've spent so much," no, no, like I've spent a little bit of money initially to invest into my tanks. Um, I did upgrade the air system and stuff, and I had extra money, so like I spent out of pocket for that. I bought metal racks and stuff out of pocket, but most of the tanks, almost all the fish are bought from money that they made, whatever. And that's the thing for me. Like I don't like buying new fish every day. I don't want to flush my fish down. They're living animals. I want them to stay alive. And pet stores, every time I bought fish from pet stores, I've had bad experiences. Aside from my few stores that I deal with, like the mom and pop stores, um, it's usually like the fish come with diseases, parasites. Like like I've seen fish lice, the little thing that lives on
Yes,
its
yes.
body. Oh my god. I brought goldfish home from PetSmart one time, and I put them in a quarantine. Thank God I put them in a quarantine tank too. This was like a long time ago, about 15 years ago. And there was something moving, like a big thing moving on the fish. I thought it was a scale at first because it looked like a scale, right? Like it was like a big goldfish, and it was moving up and down the body. You know, I looked closely, and it's a parasite that's sticking on to the fish's scales and
Yes, they'll
eating it.
slide in underneath the scale and yeah, overlap and it looks like yeah,
And it
yeah.
was a bunch of them on the two or three fish, and so I had to medicate. It was really hard to get rid of. You had to pick them out one by one. It's difficult. And if it got infested into my tanks, I don't think I would have gotten rid of it. Like I would have killed all my fish. So it's yeah, it's a vicious cycle when it comes down to that with pet stores. So I stay away from them.
Yeah. I have one LFS that I really just fool with right now.
Yeah,
Um and I mainly get food from him.
yeah,
Every now and then he'll have something there and I'm like, man, I got to let's say like your killifish, your true killifish.
mm-hmm.
You may have some garden around, some fundalo pancakes, like that you have to order. He will like periodically just get some little niche corner fish in, and if you come in at the right time and somebody hadn't beat you to it, it's like, oh man, let me let me get that.
Yeah, because you come back tomorrow, they're gone.
Yeah, let me get that cause I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know those ones. Yeah, yeah.
But for the most part, I just get food from them, and I get the food again, the fish. I take a bunch of guppies or something up there, and hey, here you go. And I mean, we've developed a pretty good bond where I mean, man, 75 to $1, you know, per per fish. So I'm like, man, especially with just the guppies, they're pretty, but it's not like you can sell a pair to a customer and he's gonna get that.
No.
You're gonna get some good looking fish,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
after a while they're gonna revert back to
Natural
um,
looking fish. We
yeah.
want
So
wild type. But even with that, like there's like 75 cents to $1. If you can sell like several thousand of them in a month, you're laughing. You know what I mean? That's the thing. I know people that breed guppies that make good money. That doing that. Again, it's all there's always somebody that wants it.
yeah.
Even convicts. I don't know who, but there's still somebody that wants
Hey,
convicts. You know
hey,
what I
I'm
mean?
glad you said that because right down here underneath this camera, I probably have about 75 in a 10-gallon down here.
There you
I mean,
go. See,
they still a
tiny
little
little
bit.
one. Yeah,
So if y'all on here and you're one of those people that wants some convict, I got some.
yeah. No, because my friend breeds them and he sells them, and I can't like for the life of me understand who buys them. But he sells convicts, and I'm like, who buys your convicts? He's like, well, the pet store buys a decent amount. Then I have like random people that want convicts. They'll come buy like 20 or 30, and I'm like, you're making money off of this? Like, really?
Man, I
There's some.
belong I belong to some convict groups
Yeah,
on Facebook.
yeah, yeah. There's people
And
that want them.
I mean, I joined them just because I had, some convicts. I started out with a pair that I
Yeah.
thought were too young to breed, but they fooled me. But
Oh, they breed.
so I just sit and I'm in the group and I'm reading stuff and I'm like, man, these people are really into these convicts.
They're nice fish.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm slightly confused because as much as people complain about them overrunning your fish room.
That's the problem with them. They breed so prolifically. It's not a problem per se, but it's just that it's a fish that's so good at breeding. Within like months, you're like literally like, especially like if you don't have a system to get rid of them,
Yeah.
you're stuck. And like you can't flush them down the drain. You can't, what are you gonna do? Like so they're alive. So now you end up feeding, and now you buy more tanks, whatever. Same thing with Pelvochromis. The there's another cichlid. It's from West Africa. Oh my God, you get two of these guys, it's over. Like your tank, within like a year, your tank is full of cichlids, like 1,000 probably. Same like jewel cichlids, same thing. They're so good at breeding, and they just keep breeding, and keep. It's just But there's a market for it. I have a friend that breeds self-cloning crayfish in small shoe boxes. Okay, so this is just what he does, and he buys all of his fish food for his entire fish room by selling these self-cloning crayfish out of shoe boxes, And now he's telling me he wants to set up a blackworm farm in his basement, like just like little containers with like little filters, and have blackworms, and that they sell for quite a bit, and so it's like he's like trying to convince me to breed blackworms, and I'm just like, nah, bro. Nah, bro. I like breeding the fish that I'm keeping. I know it's not as much money, maybe, but it's okay. Like I'm happy with this.
Oh, I tried the black worms at one point, but I ended up having them in a tank that I put my first pair of wild bettas, the first pair that I got
Oh yeah.
in this tank. I'm like, okay, they're gonna be in a substrate. No, they went through and they got everybody.
Oh
So
yeah.
I thought it
They're
was gonna be
pretty bad predators.
cohesive. No, no,
No, they eat
no.
everything. Yeah.
They wasn't having it. If it was
No.
moving, it's got to come out of here.
Yeah, and the worms come out of the substrate to once they're eating and stuff like that, and that's it's over.
Yeah.
Once they come out of the sand, it's done. The Bettas get them.
Because I was
Yeah.
thinking about this tank that the convicts are in down here.
Yeah.
I could put black worms in that, but I'd have to find somewhere. Right now, I could do it
Because
because
they're
they're so
too small.
little.
Yeah.
But that's only for right now.
They're
I'm
gonna
gonna have to
get
put them
big real
somewhere.
fast.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put them somewhere, man. Because no.
I have a question actually. Are you a part of a fish club? Like a local?
No. I mean, yes and no. There's one here in Houston that's just on Facebook, though. In our area, we really don't have like a physical one. They haven't had one that I ever even known of. Because I
Yeah.
mean, I'd hear people talking about them and be a little jealous. I'm like, man, God, if I could go to swaps and these meetings, and man, that would be so beautiful. I'd have to drive some hours,
Yeah, see,
Dallas, Fort Worth, or something to get to some.
those are good places because for us, okay, even in my city also, there's no fish club in the city. The 2 or 3 clubs that are closer to me are like about an hour drive from where I am, because they're all like outside of the city. A lot of the fish keepers seem to live outside the city, I think. But I find the swaps are really cool, especially for fish that are niche market. There's always somebody there, and like a lot of the fish nerds are into like the fish that are not like so commonly like desired, like the cookie cutter fish. Everybody
Yep.
wants. The guppies are easy to sell. Like everybody wants guppies. Like you show guppies, bettas too. Like regular bettas, easier to sell. Wild bettas seem to be a little bit more niche. But the fish
Yep.
clubs, I find there's always people that want them, and Facebook is okay too. But then you can't sell anything on Facebook, so that's a problem. I find that they kind of
And
screwed.
And the places where you might be able to work the angle, it's
It's
too much work. Yeah,
it's
it's
dodgy.
too
Yeah,
much
it's
work. Yeah,
dodgy. Yeah,
it's too much work, man.
and it's too much shady people in those places. Then you're kind of like trying to work through the all the mud and filth, and then you're like, yeah, no, this is way too much. We have a website in Toronto, in Canada, actually called Kijiji. I think it's similar to Band, where you can sell anything,
Okay,
and people sell. A lot of people sell fish there. I find a lot of times you can find pretty much any type of fish on there, from like the most expensive types to like the commonly available types, and the prices are also more reasonable because it's all breeders and stuff. So
okay, okay.
they're not charging like the pet store price. They're always usually about 70% of the retail price usually, or a little bit more, a little bit less. So it's a good thing, and that's where I actually sell my puppies when I have a big litter. I advertise on there, so
Oh, okay.
it's good to have. I've never used Band, but I heard it was good. Um, and there's some familiar names on the chat actually. Let me say hi. Ray Aquatics, hello, hello, hello. Steven, what's going on? Melvin, I said hi. Leo, Aqua Balls, I've seen you on my chat a lot of times. Gil, hi, hi, hi.
George.
George, Aqua Balls?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Scary Terry, what's going on? What's going on? And 503 Aquatics, Deborah, Didi, hi, hi, hi. Kevin, I said hi to Kevin already, but hello again. Minister Brandon, hi, hello, hello. And save to friends playlist. Okay. Okay. I think we got RB Animal Rescue. Hello. I think that's about it. Aussie Zoto. Malik's Congos, yes. I think he's seen the Congo Tetras. I have some nice Congo Tetras I've kept for like a while.
Yeah, I
Um,
really like Congos. I really do. I really do.
they're one of my favorite fish, and they didn't breed this time. It's so funny because I was trying to get them to breed. I had them in a separated the males and females. The males were in a pleco tank doing great, always breeding in the tank. They were like they were showing off to each other. They were fighting whatever. So I was like perfect time, and the females were in the breeding tank conditioning. So I took the males and put them in with the females, and they'd stop spawning. Like the females are fat. They haven't spawned. It's been like 3 weeks now. So now my plan is if they don't spawn by tomorrow, I'm gonna take all the females, remove them, leave the males in the tank, get them to start spawning, like showing off, and then
Oh,
put
and
the.
add. Okay,
I
okay.
think I think I shocked them by moving them. The temperature was different, but something was off, and they stopped. So yeah. Uh, Okay, so Ray wants the full walk around tour. I will do that. I'm moving tanks, Ray, and it's a mess in there. So I guess I'll just do a tour with the mess because I don't think I'll get rid of the mess anytime soon. Because I'm moving some tanks to up here. So this is gonna be like the YouTube studio for forever, for whatever. So I can have my live stream set up here, and I can see some tanks back there instead of like like some garbage. So yeah, but in between that I'll do a tour for you because he's been asking me for like months now. And I've been saying I'll do it. I just never gotten around to it, but yes, I'll do that. And half the tanks are not even full, so that's another reason, but I don't think I'll fill most of the bottom tanks anymore. I'll just move some over here because it's a lot of work to maintain, you know especially
Man.
once I start working, it's gonna be back to like the grind.
Yeah, that's a whole different world at that point.
Yeah, I think what my one of my plans is to not work like the whole 60-hour week. I'm gonna try to do like 2 to 3 days a week and dedicate about 2 to 3 days towards the YouTube and my fish, if I can, financially. So that's the plan. I think instead of going like full scale like 60-hour work weeks, because I don't think that's something. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but I don't think I can manage the YouTube channel, especially like I can manage the fish room, because like that's something I kind of have to take care of them. I can't just like ignore them, but the YouTube channel definitely would get pushed back if I do like a 60-hour work week, you know.
Right.
So I don't want to do that because a lot of people are depending on me to make the content as well. So I might just figure out a different way to keep the channel alive somehow.
Say something.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, all right, bro. We're at the hour and 25 mark.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're gonna have to move on around a little bit. I got some things I need to go do.
Oh yeah.
Hey, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Hank.
Most
And
definitely.
definitely thank you everybody that joined the live stream and listened to a different live stream than normal from me. You know, because I don't talk about a lot of my personal self usually. I try not to.
Oh yeah, you come on here. You're gonna get a little personal. You got to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah,
to.
yeah.
I
And
just believe I believe in people being seen as actual people, man. This is
that's
YouTube. This is not Hollywood or
yeah,
and to preserve the integrity of what we do and the perception of it. It's people, family, friends. I'm whatever I can do on my little old corner of YouTube to keep people personal. Keep us connected as
yeah.
people. Man, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm
That's
gonna do.
good. It's good because the different it's a different aspect of each of us too. Because even that when we talked with each other earlier, like I got to know you quite a bit, and like it puts a different face to everything. I feel because like you see the fish and you're like yeah, 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 yeah. You see the and I noticed that really quickly. I wanted to add that I was watching a live stream from somebody that there was a lot of negative feedback on. I'm not going to call anybody out. It was not a live stream. It was an interview like this, but with a god of YouTube, one of the bigger million
Yeah,
plus
yeah.
channels. And there was a little bit of an issue there. And with a normal, smaller channel, I guess. Bigger than mine, but still a smaller
I,
channel.
I got you. I got you.
But I realized after that, like a person might be good on their videos because they're editing the videos and whatever, but like in real life they might be a really messed up person, so
Yes,
it might not be
yes,
good
yes.
for like this type of platform, so they have to might want to kind of keep that in mind, and also being inebriated like drunk and stuff while doing that, it's not a good combination.
Not a
So
good look, man.
no,
Not
so
a
it
good
kind of
look.
was a big eye opener recently
Yeah.
seeing that. So, but like this is really good. I really enjoy this. Hopefully, we can do this more often. Like at least once in a while. Come in, and then
Most
maybe
definitely.
I can get you on my live stream because a lot of my viewers is niche market. A lot of them are into like the cooler fish, like Bettas and stuff, and you're knowledgeable in that aspect. So if you can help shed some light, maybe on one day, come on my stream and do like a segment about wild Bettas. Also, they might need our help more than just keeping and breeding because a lot of these animals' habitats are also threatened. Right? They come from Southeast Asia where they're using the forest, they're deforesting quite a bit of it. So,
Yeah.
it might be an animal that we can add to keeping in the arcs, like in the home aquariums. Like that's the thing. Like we can't all keep the same fish. If that situation happens, then only that
Right.
fish will survive.
Right.
So that'd be cool to have a segment on. So yeah, like once I figure out the StreamYard better and get the studio a little bit better set up, we can do that. I think if you're down, you know.
Yeah, I'm always down, man. I'm always
Okay,
down.
sounds
I
good.
work I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay,
Uh 1 a.m. my time. 11. I get up at 11, but it's 1 a.m. to 11 a.m. So I have a little corner of time. Like I have a lot of people, ask, man, you don't be on people's streams. And like it's not because I don't want to.
it's
It's
because
because
I'm
a
at
lot of
work.
them, a lot of them they stream, when I'm asleep, and I'm like, I'm up all night. So I have to actually go to sleep.
Yeah.
And when I do my Friday night stream, a lot of times I'm awake 24 hours.
That's
Just
crazy.
just to get on here and to do it, I have to be awake 24
Because
hours.
you just got from work and stayed up all day since then. Like
Yep.
since 11. Oh my God, that's insane.
Because I try not to keep the same schedule when I'm off. I do regular because I have a whole family in this house. I have
Right.
a wife. So it's like I want to be on their schedule, and then when I go back to work, I just flip it. Do that for 4 days. Yeah,
That's what my
then
dad used to do. He was back in when he was working. Yeah, to flip back and forth doing the schedules. Oh my God,
yeah,
that's intense.
yeah. It's not always easy.
No, no,
It's not
no,
always
no,
easy, man.
no.
Hey, but one thing I will say, with that being mentioned, I have a few times when my wife will ask me, "Are you streaming today? Are you streaming?" Yes, always streaming. Will not miss. I say there's some people that's looking forward to me, smiling and telling them, hey, that somebody loves them and showing them that somebody is dedicated
To
to them.
them,
I don't care how small or what, the scenario is, that I'm going to be there, because I want, first of all, I want to see how your week went, how you're doing today. My messenger is always open. My email is on the screen, so I try to stay accessible. I try to stay, because, man, some people, that's all they have.
I know, I know. And YouTube is a really good platform for people to connect through as well. And social media in general, I think it's really good for that, and has helped a lot of people that are immobile or are unable to move around, or kind of stuck in where they are in their situations. And you're right, a lot of people, and I mean, I'm no exception. Like when I was the beginning of the lockdown, if I didn't have like the YouTube streams and the people that was messaging me through here, and like all the you know, I would have like been a wreck. I'd
Yeah.
have drank a lot more alcohol. I'd be like 3 times the size.
Hey,
You
good
know.
for you too. Good for you too.
Yeah, definitely. And
Oh,
yeah, but yeah, man, thank you for having me. I'm really glad I got to spend this
most
time
definitely.
with you and
Most
your
definitely, man.
subscribers, and I'm really happy to see a lot of the familiar faces on the chat, which is great. I'm usually watching the live streams. I never like get in there because I don't. I'm always doing stuff in the house, but now I
Yeah,
try to say stuff just to interact, just so I can also say hi and stuff. So yeah, I'll
got you.
try to do that more instead of just
Yeah,
being
I do
a
drive. I
lurker.
like to do drive-bys. Like some I have time to sit and just actually, watch and partake in.
Yeah.
But if I get the notification, I'll just go there, you know, come in. Hey,
What's going on? Yeah. That I think I'm gonna have to start doing that.
you know,
the little
I'm here. I'm here,
the
man.
support. Yeah,
Let me hit you
yeah,
with a like right there. Let me get a few minutes in because I gotta go.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm going always, man. I'm always let you know if I'm just lurking. Sometimes I'm driving home from work, like Jess's stream. Hers come on just as I'm running. I drive 50 minutes. My phone is on the little mount on the dashboard, and I'll have it going, and I'll put on, and these same headsets. I'll put it in. I'll speak into it, lurking while driving home from work.
Yeah. Oh, so you can actually voice command the text.
Yep.
Oh, okay. See, I don't have that technology yet. Like I'm not. So it's illegal for us to use cell phones when we're driving, even to touch it. I get a
Yep.
$1,000 fine and a suspension. It's first offense. Second offense is a suspension for a year. And
Oh man.
oh yeah, it's pretty bad. So like, okay, it's to the point I have an app on my phone that monitors my driving for my insurance company.
Mhm.
The other day, I took my phone to take a picture of my dog while I was at a stop sign, and the app recorded it. And I got a notification saying that I'm unsafe because I used my phone. I was distracted. And I had the option to select if it was me or a passenger. I'm like, no, it was my girlfriend. She was sitting in the passenger seat. She was taking the picture, not me.
Oh man.
Otherwise my insurance would go up. Like it's crazy. They track everything. You know, it's
Man.
Yeah, it's the next level, but it like I'm paying $118 in insurance, which is why I keep the app on. I was like, whatever.
Yeah, right. No, you can kind of understand,
But it was an eye opener. I'm like, oh, I can't use my phone really. Leave it then.
Nah, that's crazy. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. But
Well,
yeah,
all
man.
right. We're gonna tell everybody, hey, y'all love somebody. Tell them you love them today, and take care of
Yes,
those fish. And we're
yes.
out. Peace.
Peace.